Hey everyone, my name is Doug Kundle. In this video, we will cover some of the main game mechanics in Hametsu. This isn't a comprehensive how to play, but more of an intro to the game. In Hametsu, players will not need to track game turns. The game is played with a simple back and forth of player turns and enemy turns, which continue until the game ends. At the beginning of each player turn, the players will roll to see if an event happens on the table. These can be positive for the players, like adding more lootables, or they could be negative, like spawning more Oni. The players roll a dice, and on a 5 or 6, an event occurs. They then roll a d66 on the event table and resolve the result. Then, they will activate their hunters in whichever order they choose. Activations will be explained later in the video. Once all the hunters have acted, the players check for stealth and continue to the enemy turn. We will talk more about stealth in the next section as well. During the enemy turn, the Oni will take their actions. Depending on what phase of the game you are in, they will either act according to their starting orders or based on instinct. Once they have all acted, you'll check for stealth and proceed to the player turn. Games of Hametsu are split into 3 phases: the stealth phase, the clash phase, and the boss phase. At the start of the game, the hunters begin in the stealth phase. The Oni are unaware of their presence and are acting based on orders dictated by the scenario. These could be things like wandering around the table, standing guard, or patrolling an area, all of which are defined actions in the rulebook. During this phase, as long as the hunters can remain undetected, the Oni will not target or attack them. They are bound to be spotted at some point, however. This is where checking for stealth comes in. At the end of every player turn, and at the end of every enemy turn, the players will check to see if they have been discovered. If any of these conditions are met by an Oni, it becomes aware. Aware enemies will raise the alarm the next time they activate. Once the alarm has been raised, the game switches to the clash phase. In the clash phase, the Oni will act based on instincts listed on their profile. These are usually pursuing and attacking the hunters. This phase lasts until the players discover the boss. During both the stealth phase and the clash phase, players will need to investigate clues scattered around the table. Any hunter within 1 inch of a clue token may use an action to investigate it. To investigate, they roll a d6 on the clue table, adding +1 to the roll for each clue the players have already investigated that game. Once they roll a 9 or higher, the boss is revealed. Players will roll on the boss table to see which legendary beast they will be up against, and place it according to a roll on the entrance table. The game then switches to the boss phase. All the Oni that remain on the table will spend their actions getting off the table at the nearest board edge. Now, it's down to the hunters and the boss. While it is rare, it is sometimes possible for the hunters to investigate all of the clue tokens and not discover the boss. If this happens, the game ends. The players will now get the unique opportunity to play the showdown scenario for their next game. In the rulebook, you will find 2 main ways to play Hametsu: randomly generated scenarios and the first narrative campaign. Random scenario generation allows you to roll a d6 on several different tables to create a unique scenario every time you play. This is great for pickup games and testing new builds. These games still act as linked games, and your hunters will gain levels and abilities for completing these. Alternatively, you may play a pre-made narrative campaign like the Wolf and the Devil. The scenarios are much more specific, with terrain and enemy actions defined more heavily. These games are meant to take your hunters through the storyline of Hametsu and uncover unique items, non-player characters, and bosses not available in random scenarios. Let's talk about activations. During each player turn, the players will activate their hunters. The order that they activate is completely up to the players and may change every turn. During a hunter's activation, they may perform 2 actions. These may be from the generic actions list or from the actions available to them from their Path of Legend. When a hunter performs the move action, they gain a number of inches that they may move this turn. Those inches are equal to its move stat and may be used in any combination during the turn. For example, a hunter with a move stat of 6 may use its first action to gain 6 inches of movement and move 2 inches. It then could use its second action to cast a spell and still move its remaining 4 inches afterwards. Movement may also take the hunters up or down a vertical surface, but only to a max of 6 inches per turn. And the model must be able to stand safely at the end of the move. If a height is above or below that, they cannot climb it without special gear. To make an attack in Hametsu, hunters must make an opposed test. The attacker rolls a number of d6s equal to the corresponding stat, either melee or ranged. Any roll of a 4, 5, or 6 is considered a success. The defender rolls a number of d6 equal to their resilience stat. Any successes rolled by the defender will cancel out successes rolled by the attacker. If the attacker scores more successes than the defender after canceling, the attack causes damage. For each surplus success, the defender takes damage equal to the weapon's damage stat. If the defender rolls equal to or more successes than the attacker, the attack has failed and no damage is taken. In addition to attacks, most hunters also have abilities listed on their character sheet that they can perform during a game. These could be things like casting spells, healing teammates, or performing special attacks. Some abilities require the hunter to make a test. These will be written as stat X, where stat is the required stat to be rolled and X is the number of successes needed to pass. For example, if an Onmyoji wants to cast teleport, it requires a Mind 3 test. They will roll a number of d6 equal to their mind stat, needing at least 3 successes to cast the spell. If they do, the spell is resolved. If they don't, the spell fails and the action is lost. This format is also used when determining saves against some abilities as well. Each hunter begins with some divine favor. These points may be spent during the game to re-roll your rolls, or force an enemy to re-roll theirs. The player spending the divine favor may choose which dice are re-rolled. For example, you may choose to keep your successes and only re-roll your fails on a crucial attack. Some scenarios include hiding spots. When a hunter is within 1 inch of a hiding spot, they may perform a Mind 2 test to hide. If they are successful, they are removed from the table. At the end of the next enemy turn, they must place their hunter back on the table within 1 inch of any hiding spot on the table. Hunters also have access to interesting equipment that can shift the tide of a battle. Some equipment gives hunters a static ability, like foot spikes. Others require the hunter to spend an action to use them, like caltrops. If at any point a player feels like the risk to their hunter is too great, or they are unable to defeat a boss, they may perform the pullback action. They immediately remove their hunter from the table and place any quest-specific items they may be carrying at their hunter's last location. They do, however, get to keep any gold and gear items that they found during the game. Sometimes, it's better to live to fight another day. A game of Hametsu ends when one of the following conditions are met. The hunters have investigated all of the clue tokens and the boss wasn't found. The hunters have defeated the boss, the hunters are all removed from play, or the hunters have all chosen to pull back. When a boss is defeated, any hunters still on the table will level up. They will roll their body dice and add the total roll to their max body stat. Then, they may choose an entry from their class's Path of Legend that is equal to or below the hunter's current level. They also gain an amount of gold equal to their new level times 25, so a 4th level character will gain 100 gold. Any hunter that ends the game with less than 50% of their starting body points must roll a d6 on the injury chart. Some injuries are permanent and others only temporary. If a hunter was removed from play, they add 2 to that roll, which means they could potentially succumb to their wounds. Thanks for watching. This has been a quick look at the mechanics within Hametsu. Be sure to like and subscribe for more Hametsu content coming soon.